and welcome to another bike review out of Appleyard Motorcycles in Keighley, and today I'll be taking out this here beautiful Aprillia Touareg 660. Been looking forward to this. In the meantime, if you're in this neck of the woods, or if you're not in this neck of the woods, or if you're even not in the country, you need to get yourself over to Appleyard Motorcycles, Keighley, West Yorkshire, part of the Moto GB network. First class dealership, been here a long time, tremendous reputation, and I can personally vouch you'll have a great customer experience if you come here. Appleyard Motorcycles in Keighley. Big thumbs up for this fantastic dealership here. Right, without further ado, let's climb aboard the old Aprillia Touareg 660 and see what it's all about. Right, here we are then. My first ever ride on an Aprillia. I've ridden that many makes of bike over the years, but I've never ridden an Aprillia, so this is a first. And here's this fantastic looking, very smart Aprillia Touareg 660. And we might as well do the numbers while we're at it. Let's get the boring bit over with first. Starting at the front end, we've got a 21-inch tubeless spoked rim sporting Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR tyre, well respected tyre there. And we've got two 300mm discs, each sporting 2-pot Brembo calipers. Now the suspension on these is Kayaba, fully adjustable, and a 43mm upside down Kayaba forks, and 240mm of travel front and rear on this bike, so quite a bit. It's quite a tall bike, quite a bit of ground clearance, quite a bit of suspension travel there. So yeah, that be the front end. The engine is the 659cc, I think I've got that right, 659cc parallel twin. Apparently it's sort of half of the RSV engine. Don't ask me which half, but anyway, yeah, 659cc, puts out 79 brake horsepower at 9,250 RPM and 51.6 foot-pound of torque at 6,500 RPM. So if we come to the old back wheel here, 17-inch spoked tubeless again, Pirelli Scorpion STRs, and we've got a 260mm disc there with a single pot caliper. Usual Mahusiv Euro compliant exhaust. The seat height is a fairly lofty 860mm. The tank is 18 litres with a claimed maximum range of 280 mile. I believe that when I see it. Don't think it'll be that much, but anyway, they're always optimistic out of these figures. So 18 litre fuel tank, 860mm seat height, and the weight of this bike 204 kilos, which is pretty light, is it not? So yeah, very very smart looking thing. Yeah, cuts an impressive figure, particularly in the that sort of dark metallic green and scarlet red colour scheme. Right, I'm going to get a few miles under my belt. We're going to meet up with Andy and Richard and Malcolm. Richard and Malcolm, two of my subscribers that we went out with last year, and back up here in the Yorkshire Dales for a second bite. So I'll get some miles under my belt, and then we'll do the on-the-fly review of this here Aprillia Touareg 660. Right, here we are then, the Aprillia Touareg 660 out here in the wilds in the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. Look at that there bike. We've done the facts and figures. I've been about half an hour on this bike now. Very, very comfortable riding position indeed. Seat a little firm. And an 860mm seat height, but very narrow at the waist there. So I can't quite flat foot, but not so far off. But beautiful in that there dark green and red colour scheme. A very, very smart looking bike. Lots of functionality on the TFT. We've got riding modes, we've got adjustable traction control, ABS, all the rest of it. So yeah, I won't bore you with the individual functionality, but it's got cruise control, and the navigation through the TFT system is via these arrows there, and the rest is the fairly standard switch gear that you would expect on any bike. So yeah, I think that's enough of that. Let's have a look at me seated upon this here bike then, eh? Right, so as I said, a 660mm seat height, and I'm almost flat-footed. Very, very comfortable riding position on this bike indeed. And yeah, I suspect that if this seat were any wider, it's a long, narrow bench seat. I suspect that if it was any wider, I wouldn't be getting my feet down as far as I have. But it's really, really comfy. But pretty firm seat now. As I've said before on numerous occasions, a firm seat does not necessarily mean an uncomfortable seat. In fact, over distance, firmer seats tend to be that bit more supportive and more comfortable in the long run. But yeah, all day comfortable. Be an absolute consummate tourer would this bike. Quite lazy on the turning with a 21-inch wheel, as you might expect. But still very responsive. Why does some bellend in a white van always come along when I'm doing a piece to camera? That's what I want to know. Hey, any road up, yeah, nice bike, right? Throaty engine and surprisingly powerful for a 660cc unit. The tractability is very impressive. Even in high gears, it pulls without any hesitation whatsoever. So an absolutely peach engine for this, to be sure. No quick shifter on this, although you can get a quick shifter with them, but not as standard. This bike definitely doesn't have a quick shifter, because I've tried. But other than that, yeah, what can I say? If you're after an adventure bike, this coming in at just under £11,000. The obvious competitors, your Yamaha Tenere, Suzuki V7, 650, the Chinese offerings in the 650 range, so that'll be the Voge DS625X, the CF Moto 650, and one or two others spring to mind as well. Honda Transalp, potentially. But obviously this comes in at a much higher price point, certainly than the Chinese made bikes. And on the subject of Chinese made bikes, if you have a look at Mindful Motorcyclist channel, Mindful Motorcyclist Sean, cracking channel, that his latest talks all about why the Chinese are stealing a march on certain members of the established legacy manufacturers, and certain others that they're not so much. And it's an interesting analysis. Go take a look at that. Sure, Mindful Motorcyclist, cracking channel. Right, let's climb back aboard this here beast. Oh, whoa. Lovely gearbox, lovely slick gearbox and light clutch. Fabulous. Yeah, very, very responsive bike, this. An awful lot of low down torque, quite exceptional I would say for a 660cc-ish engine. Oh my word, hey! Oh, right, wait, don't have to give you a shove. It's quite a pleasant sound to the engine exhaust. It's not quite as rock and roll, not quite as basso profundo as that there Moto Guzzi Stelvio was last week, but still, I'm in the pull. I'm in 4th gear now, and it just absolutely lifts up its petticoats and throws you forward. Right, nobody behind, chest front brake. Yeah, that's pretty good. Back brake, average. That's that covered. Yeah, but it's a really engaging ride, a really rewarding ride. God, I mean, I can't imagine why you would want more power than this. I'd have to say that in any given category of mid-range adventure bikes, this would certainly occupy the upper bandwidth when it comes to power delivery. So, cracking engine, and no mistake. Look at that there view. In fact, I'd say the engine's the star of the show on this bike. I mean, the fit and finish is good. We're not quite in Honda territory with the fit and finish, but it's as good as most other bikes to be found in its class. Pretty agile on these tight bends here, considering it's a 21-inch front wheel. Whether this would be a realistic proposition for any serious off-roading, I doubt. It's too big, and even though it's only 204 kilos, it's still a bit heavy for any serious off-road use. But certainly the odd gravel track, the odd green lane, bit of the rough stuff. Yeah, be fine. A really steep hill, tight bend, 3rd gear, pulling like a train. Look at that there. Whoa, look at it. Beautiful. Glorious spring day. We're in the first week of May. And the sun gods are well and truly shining on us. Have done for the past week or so, and are forecast to for the foreseeable future. Which in the world of weather forecasting, of course, is never much more than a week ahead, if that, but looking good. Got a nice 5-inch TFT there, very clear display. All the sort of telemetry that you would expect on a modern TFT. Got a central readout of speed, digital, surrounded by an analogue representation for the rev counter, gear position indicator to the right there, your peripheral warning lights round the outside, and nice to see, well, fuel gauge and temperature gauge, but always nice to see outside temperature and a clock there on the left. And being fairly narrow at the waist, it's a long, narrow bench seat. This ideally suited for standing up. If you're into all that standing up business, like so, you get plenty of grip around that narrow waist with that van ease. And down there, that's Settle. That's the little town of Settle. I think we're going to have a brew at Elaine's Cafe, which is a nice little spot. Yeah, so I mean, an increasingly popular place in the market, the mid-range adventure bikes. And of course, with the Chinese now stealing a march, there's plenty to choose from. Now, whether this bike is competitive at just under £11,000 is of course another question, but I tend to find that a lot of the Italian marques, be it Ducati or Moto Guzzi or Aprilia, they tend to have quite a fan base, quite a loyal following. I had a little warning light come on there saying brake stuck, but the brake most definitely isn't stuck and it's gone off, so hey, probably because I were riding the back brake down that steep hill. Yeah, suspension soaking up these here cobbles quite nicely. Good quality suspension, Kayaba, front and rear, fully adjustable. LED lights all round, of course, as you would expect. A very, very competent adventure bike, a very stylish looking adventure bike. On the style front, the only observation I will make, and it's a purely subjective personal one, is I like to have a bit of girth about an adventure bike round about the tank area to give you plenty of weather protection and plenty of road presence. But this has got enough to keep your legs dry in adverse weather, for sure. It's just, you know, a little aesthetic quirk that I have, that if it's an adventure bike, I like it to be sort of nice and wide. A lot of people don't like that and prefer it to be as narrow as possible, and that being that their category, this here bike. Of course, with Malcolm up front there on his Yamaha Tenere 700, which is one of the obvious rivals to this here bike. And the Tenere is, of course, cheaper than this Aprilia, but not as much tech. But then the Yamaha Tenere, and the one I really like, the World Raid, of course, pretty much the whole point of that bike is it's a bit stripped back and it's fairly minimal on electronics. It's old school, which appeals to me. This is packed with all the gubbins, and here in the sort of semi-urban area but the fueling is absolutely spot on. I've heard reports that the throttle can be a bit snatchy. It's fly-by-wire throttle, but I wouldn't describe it as snatchy. A little bit keen maybe, but no more than that. But the fueling, absolutely bob on. I mean, you could ask the question, who's it for? Well, it's for anybody that's looking for a mid-weight adventure bike with a budget 11 grand, obviously, by definition. But I suppose its particular appeal and the part that might go some way towards justifying its slightly higher price point than its rivals is the fact that it's a very individual bike. It's certainly got a personality, but it's It's just that little bit different, isn't it? I don't know if you watch the Mark Travels YouTube channel. It's a Mark, German lad travelling around the world on an electric motorcycle. And in the latest ones is sort of teamed up with a Turkish lass called Guzzi, I think, and she's on one of these. And she doesn't look that tall, so she seems to have managed particularly well, albeit that Mark's had to get her out of one or two sticky situations. So I'm not massively long in the leg, 32 to 33 inch inseam, 6'1", just under 13 stone, and it's very, very manageable indeed. I would suggest if you're particularly short in the leg, this bike's not for you. It's just 860mm even with a narrow seat. It's just a bit on the tall side. That was a very convivial, conversational break there with thank you, with tea and cake, which Richard and Malcolm insisted on buying. Thank you, gentlemen. And a good old chin wag, can't beat it. Yeah, so Aprillia Touareg 660. I suppose to sum up, a surprisingly peppy delivery from this 659cc parallel twin. Lots of low down torque, just what you need on a bike like this. And why this and not any of the other mid-range adventure bikes? Well, I suppose if you like the flair and panache of the Aprilia brand, there's nothing vanilla about this bike. And yeah, if how you feel on the ride and the whole stylized aspect of the ride is important to you, and it is to me in many ways, then this might be a choice for you. It certainly does everything and more that you would expect from a well specced out adventure bike, and it's an entertaining ride. The whole package is entertaining, let me put it that way. But why this and not any other midweight adventure bike? I suspect that the answer to that is how important it is to you to just feel that little bit different, to have a motorcycle which is which makes a bit of a different statement to some of the others. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Chinese offerings, of which there are several in this space, represent excellent value for money, but probably could be fairly described as a little bit vanilla, whereas this bike steps outside the box, if that knows what I mean. But yeah, star of the show, this engine is fabulous. Oh, bags of fun. So yeah, hope that was of some interest to you. If it was, please click a like. Please subscribe to the channel, I really would appreciate that. It's totally free of charge. And if you want to take this bike out, get yourself to Appleyards in Keighley, take out this demonstrator, see what you think, let me know what you think. And so it only remains for me to thank everybody at Appleyards, and in particular Kieran, who looks after me, Mikey, the sales manager, Jason, the service manager, and Kevin, the general manager, the boss. Thank you very much, guys, as always. I'll see you on the next one, which will probably be another Aprilia. And to all of you out there, thank you ever so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And until the next time, and in the meantime, ride safe, be kind, and I'll see thee.